Hello friends, how are you today? We have a massive, huge wave of energy on the chart today. It peaks at 77 hertz, great number. If you could first like the video, subscribe, that would be wonderful. Here's the chart. You can see it's so interesting. There's some of this transformative energy. It almost looks like flames happening prior to this big wave. Now, I've talked about that the Schumann energies can go around the planet multiple times. They're very long waves. They're very low hertz. And it's interesting, if you take a look at the images prior to these waves, this set of similar structures, images in the chart, started here at the 16th, right after this big, essentially like a big gateway. And I called it like a creation gateway. So you have 1, 2, 3 days, 4 and 5 right here. What I'm wondering is if this is the same energy that came around. And then what happens is if the amplitudes are low, then the energy diminishes, but something happened to amp this back up. And therefore it showed again as a big wave. Isn't that cool? So let's take a closer look at the black charts here. Here's the frequency chart, and I want to show you this. You can see how this energy causes the frequency to move to the lowest end of its range. This one actually happened. This one actually dipped right before the wave. Yeah, it's because of this bar of energy here. Okay, so essentially, you can see how the energy was pushed down to the low end of each range. And when the white resonance does that, it's like it has a special quality. It has a special characteristic, because there's a data point called quality. It has a special characteristic, and I don't believe that this is measured on the frequency, amplitude, or quality charts. I believe it's another aspect of the resonance that may or may not be able to be measured. But periodically, the white wave of resonance, I call it an expanded energy, because it causes the frequencies to flex in such a way that they go down to the lowest end of their ranges. Now, the white resonance doesn't always do that. Sometimes it will have only a moderate effect on the flow of the frequencies. And so the white resonance has two expressions, but they both are white resonance. And this is a subtlety that I'm enjoying explaining to you related to the chart. And what that is that sometimes the white resonance comes through and it expands our consciousness, like it gives us something to essentially relate with or attach to, right? It causes a leap in our heart or causes an insight in our mind. And there's a free will choice here. So we have the opportunity to experience this. And perhaps the 7.7 billion people who operate their brainwaves at these exact levels, perhaps we're generating this from within. And perhaps when we're more God-connected, that's when there's the flex and the frequency. The energy is expanded. It's at a different sort of dimensional state in a way. And perhaps when we're generating this white resonance in this range of frequencies, but we're not connected that way, then there's not the flux in the frequencies. That's kind of how I think of it. And this is a really interesting and key concept in my view. When the white resonance does not flex the frequency range, in an extraordinary way, which it is doing today, when it doesn't flex the range, to me what it says is it's pointing out what's important on the chart. Isn't that fascinating? I love looking at this energy and interpreting it with you guys. Okay, here's the amplitudes, and you can see we had these great spikes, 77, 60 in yellow, 47 in red, and 37 in green. Close together generally, but a little bit spread out in that closeness. So sometimes there's a real steep drop-off in red and green. And that was only a moderate drop-off today. You can see that the yellow and the white were the closest together. So the most action, in my view, is happening to us in the yellow spectrum that we experience, which I feel is the astral or the non-physical closest to the body. But there's still an effect that's significant in red, which I view as our densest emotions, feelings, experiences, etc., and green, which I view as just the overall health of humanity, and possibly the planet, because we are literally made of the planet. But now here's one last interesting point. The qualities have been so low. Okay, so they've all been below essentially around 10, and there's a spike to 16 here, but in general, they have been very low. So what this does, this wave gives us access over a broader range of experience. So here's how I view the qualities. The quality is like the truth from a human perspective and a layperson perspective. The more connected we are with the truth of our own soul, of who we truly are, the higher our personal quality would be. So when the quality is low, we have the option open to us in a wide range of experience sets, right? Away from the truth of who we are. We're not at clarity, in other words, but all of these other potentials that we can experience get amped up for us when the amplitude is also high, when the qualities are low. Isn't that interesting? So other choices all come into view, and they all have like lights on them right now because of the amped up qualities. And I know personally that I've been experiencing this. It started very close to the full moon. We're currently in a full moon. It's going to become the new moon again around, I think, around July 28th. So this has been an extraordinary set of choice points that we're facing here. Do we stay true to who we are, or do we sort of walk off the path? Now, all choices are valid. So my girlfriend is always telling me there is no path, which is true, okay? If we think that time's not linear, but it's a way that is easy to understand about, are we making choices that are in alignment with the soul that we are, right? The soul purpose, or not? And if we're not, that's okay too, because our soul purpose, right? That's where we're out of alignment, where we step away from our personal truths. Sometimes we learn from that, and that's really necessary, because the contrast of what happens then, or the other experiences that roll out from that, show us the value of being in alignment with our personal truths.